Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about first date tips and ideas. Okay, so if you've got a first date coming up or you just want some information on what to do when you are going to be going on a first date, perhaps you're searching right now, perhaps you're single and you're looking to find someone new and you're trying to figure out, okay, how can I create a really good first date and things like that. So with the first date, it's obviously a very precarious time. So especially if you've met online, right? If you've met online and you haven't really met, you don't really know each other that well, then you don't know if you're going to gel, right? You don't know what's basically going to happen, essentially. Obviously, it's a little bit different for people that you've already known for a while and you're going on a date with because you already know each other somewhat. But let's just assume you've met this person online, right? And you don't know them very well, or perhaps friends have set you up or something like that, and you don't know this person. So the best thing to do if you don't know them very well yet, and you haven't and you've met them online or something like that, the best thing to do is to meet them somewhere for just a drink, right? Because the cool thing about just meeting up for a drink is that if you don't like them or if you feel like things are awkward and things are not going, you're just not gelling basically, you're not connecting, and you don't think it's going to go anywhere basically, you can just stay for like half an hour or 45 minutes and then you can leave, right? Whereas if you commit yourself to like meeting up for a meal, then you've got the appetizers, you've got the main course, you've got the dessert, things like that, and you're gonna have to be in each other's company for at least a couple of hours basically. So it's always better to meet up for a drink first because you can escape, right? But also the cool thing about meeting up for just a drink is if things aren't going well, you can extend the date if of course they want to as well. So you're on a date with someone, you actually really like them, they seem to really like you as well. Then what you can do is you can be like, hey, how about we go to this place for some ice cream or for an appetizer or something like that, or how about we go over here for some dinner or something like that. Right, so you can extend the date, you can make the date longer because you enjoy each other's company. And that way, because let's say you're single and you're really actively searching for someone, you're not going to waste as much money. Because if you always commit to meeting someone for a meal first, then you have to pay for you're at least paying for your own meal, right? You may be paying for theirs as well. So, the money kind of racks up after a while. But if you're just meeting for a drink, you're not going to be, it's not going to cost astronomical money, if you've got like a couple of dates a week. It's not going to make a huge dent in your bank account, right? So if you've got a lot of dates coming up, it's a good idea to make these dates just drink dates, okay? And then, of course, but like I said, if you like them, things are going really well, then you can extend the date to like a meal, or you go and get some appetizers somewhere, or you go and do something else, like you go for a walk around the town and, do some window shopping or something like that. So it gives you a lot of options, right? So that's good. So that's my first piece of advice. Always aim to meet up with them for just a drink first. Okay, now it doesn't have to be an alcoholic drink. It could be meeting them for a coffee. It could be meeting them for some tea somewhere. It could be meeting up with them for like a milkshake, right? It doesn't have to be an alcoholic drink, obviously. Okay, so the second tip that I have, which is basically when you're on the date, right? And that is you want to go to multiple places if you're enjoying their company, right? So what this does is it speeds up the dating process, because what you're basically creating then is you're creating more experiences together. And, love has to be, and romance and things like that has to be experienced. So basically you want to get in as many experiences together as possible. So for a first date, something like 3, right? So you have the experience of having a drink together, having a chat in that environment. And then you may go somewhere else for some dinner, right? You go to a different restaurant, go somewhere completely different for some dinner, for something to eat, right? And then afterwards, maybe you go for a walk, or you do some sort of like physical activity, like going bowling or going playing pool or snooker or something like that. Or you perhaps there's like an arcade or something, or like some crazy golf, miniature golf, and then maybe the third thing that you do, Or another third thing that you do, perhaps you go for some ice cream or something like that somewhere else. So it's like you're trying to create as many experiences as possible, because what this does is it creates like, so instead of just having one date where you have for drink or you have dinner, you're having like it's almost like you're having 3 dates in one, right? So that's another good thing that you can do. Go to multiple places if you're enjoying that person's company, because it speeds up the dating process. And the more experiences, the more different environments you put yourselves in together, the more they get to know you and the more you get to know them, because you're getting to know them in different settings, right? So, and of course as well, simultaneously, you're spending a long period of time together, so you can really get to know each other, okay? So, another piece of advice I have is that you want to be asking them a lot of questions, okay? Now, there's some people that I've spoken to over the years, and they always say that, oh yeah, when I go out and meet someone, what I do is I try and keep the conversation on topics I know about, right? Because then I sound more interesting and stuff. But usually those people are people that really blab their mouths, and they don't read the room and can tell that they actually, the woman or the guy that they're on a date with, it really isn't finding what they're talking about that interesting. So you have to be very aware of them, and you have to make sure that you're not just talking about yourself, trying to big yourself up. And if you are doing that, that's kind of showing that you're a little bit insecure anyway. You shouldn't be trying to prove yourself to someone. You shouldn't have to do that. The idea is that you're trying to get to know them to see if they're a good fit. So you want to find out really important information, a set of important information about them. So you want to know basically what it was like for them when they were growing up. What's their family environment, right? How do they get on with their parents? Because that's an important one, because remember, if you stay with this person and eventually get married, I know that's far looking down the line, but you got to think about these things if you're looking for something serious. If you're doing that, right, if you're asking about their parents, that's important, because their parents are going to be part of your family. So you've got to make sure that they're, you got to figure out basically if they get on well with their parents, and if their parents are nice people, right? And if they've got nice siblings and things like that, and if they have a good bond with them, right? Or is there a lot of drama? Because if there's a lot of drama in their family, then that means that drama is going to enter your life, and you have to think about whether or not you want that drama in your life, okay? So it's important to know about their family, so you ask them questions about their family. Obviously ask them questions about themselves as well, because you want to make sure that this person is who you want to be with, right? And make sure it's someone that you enjoy the company of and things like that. So you've got to ask about like things that maybe you have in common. So that's what you find out about them. You find out how they live their lives, what's their lifestyle like. Like a good question to ask them is like, okay, so what does your average day look like, right? And let's say you're someone who gets up early. You like to get up at like 5 a.m. You like to go to the gym straight away, and then you come home, have a shower, you go to work, and then you come home, you cook yourself a nice healthy meal, right? And perhaps you exercise again, or something like that, or you just wind down with a little bit of TV, or perhaps you've got a business that you work on, or something like that. You've got a lot of things that you do in the evening, and then you like to get in bed by 9 a.m., right? And you ask the person who you're on a date with what they like to do, and they say, oh yeah, I don't go to bed until like 12. I like to go out drinking on the weekends. Sometimes I even have a few drinks in the middle of the night as well, something like that. Or I stay up a lot watching Netflix. I don't really like to exercise. I usually get up at like 11 in the morning. You know now then that this is someone that you shouldn't be with, because your lifestyles are too different. It may be that you're attracted to each other. There might even be a lot of sparks between you two, but ultimately your lifestyles are too different. Right, so it's not going to work out. Even if you're insanely attracted to each other and you want to be on each other like rabbits, unfortunately, passion doesn't equal stability, normality, a healthy relationship, right? In fact, sometimes it can actually mean the opposite sometimes, right? You have a lot of passion, but you're not compatible, right? And that's what I found with my first ever romantic relationship. I was really, really attracted to her, but ultimately we were just too different. She smoked, drank way too much. That just wasn't what I wanted, wasn't my lifestyle. Even though I didn't mind having a party here and there, it was something that she was doing almost every weekend, right? Sometimes multiple times in the week as well. So I knew after a while that I shouldn't continue to be with that person. Also, she didn't value monogamy, whereas I do, right? So you got to be figuring out these things and try to figure out who this person is. And do you live the same kind of lifestyle? Do you want the same things? Do you enjoy doing the same things? Do you get up and go to bed at a similar time? Right? These are things that are very important, right? Especially if you really value those things. It might be that you don't care about those things. So then you got to find someone also who doesn't really care about those things either. You also got to figure out, you know, what are their views on marriage? What are their views on kids? Do they want kids? Do they want marriage? If you want those things, then if you're on a date with someone who says they don't want those things, then you know you should no longer date that person, right? Because remember, what sometimes happens is you get so hypnotized with someone's beauty, with someone's potential, that you falsely believe that you think you can change them. But when someone shows you who they are for the first time, believe them. Really do believe them, because there is a high chance that you will not change them. So it's better to find someone who already is living the kind of life that you want, who is already wanting the same things in life that you do, because then you don't have to change them. Right? You don't have to try and change them. And even if you do try and change someone, that doesn't necessarily mean that you will, and therefore you're wasting your time. And I don't want you to waste your time, which is why I say meet up with someone for a drink first, right? Because then you can just, if you don't like them, you can just, you know, leave, right? Essentially after half an hour or 45 minutes, right? You can just leave. Right? And if you find someone who already lives the same kind of lifestyle that you do, already wants the same things that you do, then again, you're not wasting your time, right? But you will waste your time with someone who wants the opposite of those things, but you're living from this place of, oh yeah, but they're so sexy. I can't resist them. They're so hot, right? Because if you're going from that place instead of this place, right, then you're going to come into a whole array of different troubles, and you're going to waste your time, and eventually that relationship is just going to crash and burn, right? There are some people who spend more time considering what they want their car to be than they do a romantic relationship. There are people out there that consider a rental or a house more than they consider a romantic partner, even though they're going to be spending more time with that partner than with that car or with that house or apartment, right? What you got to remember is, if you start getting serious with someone, there is a potential that you could be with this person for the next 50 years, okay? That's a long time to be with someone you don't like, who you don't get on with, who doesn't want the same things as you. And that's very important to consider. So make sure that you're asking good quality questions, finding out who they are as a person, okay? And believe who they are when they tell you. If they say that they always ruin their relationships, believe them. If they say they have a horrible relationship with their parents and their family members and it's really toxic and there's a lot of drama, believe them. If they don't want the same things as you do, believe them, okay? And that's how you know basically if you should go on a second date with them. If they want the same things as you, that's great. If you get on with them, that's great. You should go on a second date with them. That's how you know. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.